Today, on Another Note.
So when I saw this thing, I said, non-binary. Okay, what does that mean? Click.
We're coming out of, well, we're not coming out, but we're in an era where terrorism is real.
I'm sorry, ma'am, sir. Shim, you can't get on today.
You can't choose to be male today and then female tomorrow.
So today, in our local highlights, we're highlighting Drive BVI.
I read it as a bedtime story to my kids, and I didn't know it was going to be like this fun.
Mrs. Deidre Wheatley Peters, welcome to the show.
The one-day workshop focuses on beginning that journey of self-exploration and self-discovery.
Today's hot topic is a little more spiritual. The Lord knows I need it. We're going to be speaking about life after death. Do you believe in life after death?
I believe in life after death. I also firmly believe in life.
We're using the word truth. This is our truth, and truth is relative. I want to talk about another topic that also manifests in the skin. When you hear you have a diagnosis of diabetes,
Hi everyone, welcome to On Another Note. And as you can see, we're not your average talk show, so that's why you're watching. So ladies, how was your week?
it was good.
It's pretty okay.
It was really
Usually exhausting, but this one was good.
I just came back from Guyana.
Yes, tell me about you had all types of
I was
posts.
I've never been.
traveling.
Listen, I love my life. Let me tell you, it was awesome. It is really a different type of beautiful. That's what I've been calling it. Their sea is the Atlantic Ocean, and it is brown. When I say brown, I mean like for real brown. But when you see all the silt and the extract and the minerals from the Amazon that makes it that color, it's just amazing. It really is amazing. The experience was amazing. A different type of beautiful. Guyana, I'll be back. I'll definitely be back.
Tell me about the gold. I want to know about the gold.
I'm not a big shopper, so I was more trying to get into the culture.
Oh,
and,
okay,
and
yeah,
I went for
that's
a
fair.
conference on diabetes. So after doing that, I just tried to immerse myself in the culture and their way of life, because that's what I prefer and love. So I didn't really do a lot of shopping. So I didn't see too much of the gold.
You see, that's why I have problems, because I go with an agenda. I want to shop till I drop. Drop. So speaking of all these different things that's happening in the world, I want to mention recently United Airline, they came up with this non-binary option in when you book your tickets. So when I saw this thing, I said, non-binary. Okay, what does that mean? Click. And then when I read it, I was like, oh, okay. And just keep scrolling, Jesus. I can't. I don't. That ain't my business. Because I just feel like it's not my business. But so what do you all think about this non-binary? I even had to look up. I was like, what is non-binary? I read it and I was like, okay, gender queer. And I'm like, another term to categorize people again. And it's to take them out of a category that they wanted to be in, but still putting them in another category. So I don't understand. So tell me, what do you think about non-binary and genderqueer and united?
I mean, personally, I think, it's starting a slippery slope that I don't believe that we will be able to build ourselves back up from. They've already now done a lot of states have already agreed to have the birth certificates without gender. Now you're able to book your flights and not specify. I mean, what's next? For me, I really have a problem with it, because to me, it sets the stage for more sexual harassment or sexual activity, or, it sets the stage for really bad things to happen.
I'm thinking terrorism. I don't know. You never know how people thinking, because it's like you don't know who's stepping into your flight.
Yeah.
I had a little experience. I'm working in an airline, and the U.S. they actually want to know who's stepping into their territory before you actually step foot into your territory. So I don't know if we are regressing by putting that into the mix. I don't know, but I hope that we're going forward and not backwards.
And that's my thought too, like the risk factors. I mean, we're coming out of, well, we're not coming out, but we're in an era where terrorism is real, where people can get onto flights with different items. People have licensed firearms. There's so many different risks when you travel. I mean, planes with the 737 having its faults. I mean, these are all of the problems and things that we think about when we're trying to fly. And then now you have the option of saying ambiguous, you know, like who is coming, a male or a female? Are you a criminal? Are you not? I mean, not that you would be able to tell that, but at least it gives a sense of security so that the persons behind that booking screen can know who is coming. So the security aspect of booking without exposing who or what is traveling is my fear. And traveling is becoming very uncomfortable in terms of all of the risks that are lurking around that aspect. So that's my concern.
And can you
there.
imagine how these the airline hostesses would feel?
I mean, I don't know.
I wonder, okay, I'm trying to understand the why. Like, why would United Airlines decide to kind of have that ambiguity? Like, why are we
equality.
why?
No,
Gender
but
equality.
but I'm thinking.
So you were
if you're
given a
gonna
gender
say,
to begin with.
just choose one. You can't choose to be male today and then female tomorrow. If you're a female,
But you can. So they're saying you can.
but that's the problem, because you're never gonna know who's gonna show up. So the fact that they have MX for the ambiguous, or you could say
You can choose
undisclosed.
Undisclosed has always been there, but I think
Now they allow you to choose.
no, they allow. I think it was male, female, undisclosed, or
I think
something else.
I
But that's
think
why I was
travel
like,
should
what was the
go
difference between undisclosed or whatever that other
That
one
the
is?
MX
I was
thing?
like, because MX was Mr. Miss. I guess you have all the married, unmarried folks, and then you doctor, and then I think the MX there, and then
It's unknown.
under that with the male, female, and then the undisclosed or
I can't remember the phrase they use.
I
They
think it
use
was
a phrase.
unidentified. It was something random.
So I think a part of it is, so in the event that you come to the airport, your passport says that you're a male, but today you're dressed like a woman. So they wanted to make sure that you're able to identify as not undisclosed, but as an alternative, so that the teller doesn't go, I'm sorry, ma'am, sir. Shim, you can't get on today, you know. And I think it was just a matter so that the tellers, the hostesses,
so they can say,
are able to say, okay, thank you so much, and then address you accordingly. If not, you may address, I'm sorry, sir, and he may be dressed like a young lady today, and that will be very offensive. So I think it's a part of this gender equality thing
both
that
are
we're
I know, right? I just hope it goes
What is
across.
like?
I hope that it goes across nations, because this is an American company that did that. No, I'm not calling out any Arabic country or whatever, but should somebody else come from the Middle East and do that, is it going to have equality then?
It's across their
Because
board. It's across their
that's
board.
what I mean, at the end of the day,
When I book my tickets, I never.
I don't know. I'm not comfortable with it. I don't
Honestly,
think it's.
if I have an account with my Sky Miles or whatever type of miles, if it ain't there to begin with, I ain't clicking it again because I'm just keeping pushing. Like I just, the most I might do is if I'm booking for my child, I might say yes, she's under 2, and we need a free ticket. But I don't, Mr. Ms. I don't find where it's necessary, because on your ticket itself, it doesn't say that. Half the time you don't even get your full name. So how are you gonna have room to put Mr., Miss, or MX or what? I mean, like I feel like
I think they'll change all of that. So I really think, if we're honest, I think the transitions that we're about to see happening in this 21st, we're in the 22nd century now.
No, we're still in
21st. We're in 21st century. I think the transitions that we're about to see still in this 21st century are going to be very drastic. Just last night, I was having a conversation with teens about topics like this, and it's so sad that we have to sensitize our children that if you see a young man or a young woman who identifies differently, that we need to treat them with the same respect that we treat people who are differently abled, because they feel the same amount of offense. Do I think it's right? Do I think it's wrong? I don't even know how to feel.
No, I think you need to sensitize your children that people on a whole you need to show respect for. You shouldn't point. If something seems like a little off from how they were raised or how you raised them, then they should know how to act appropriately and have manners. So if showing them or sensitizing them in that regard that, okay, in the BVI, you may not see transgender, but when you go away to school or if you're going by a relative, you might just see it somewhere else in the good old land of the USA.
And this is what it is, and this is how we respond.
You have to respect them the same way. The only how, unless if they disrespect you, then you come telling mama, are we going?
Because I saw something on my social media feed where there was this, somebody was taping an incident where the cashier addressed transgendered individual.
He was like, oh,
and he really was attacking the cashier because the cashier called him sir. It's just because he sounded like a man. And he was transgendered, he violently went after the cashier. So the safety issue of having that gender equality is also there, because I mean, a lot of times they think about, yes, the heterosexuals, they think it's more like we are being aggressive against the homosexuals, but at times the transgendered people, they're getting a little bit intense with it. It's just that sometimes
they're like,
don't understand.
I'm a man with boobs and I'm insecure about them. You should be, because we had to grow up being insecure. We went through the whole puberty. It was not a fun, to me, it wasn't a fun experience. So now you going through your own little man puberty. You got to get with the program. Because now you're an adult.
Man puberty.
You're not a teenager. Because when women grew up and we had hormones and we had to go through puberty and get breasts and hair and things that were strange and awkward, we were strange and awkward for some years. So in them just transitioning or whatever they do, this is your puberty and this is what you have to experience. So you just can't go from day to night and say respect me. You have to go through your adolescent transition too.
Agreed.
And don't come with an attitude because someone
That's a good point.
Recognize
That's a really good
choice
point.
of gender, masculinity, or femininity today.
I
Because we
agree.
didn't have a choice. Like this was not a choice. This was not a choice.
love it.
This is jeans. And I'm still walking on it. So here you come today feeling like you could put on prosthetics or whatever you feel like, I ain't knocking the hustle. But don't come with an attitude.
Yeah.
Or at least
there was this
control
joke
it.
on Facebook I saw. A man visited a doctor. And he was dressed like a lady. And the doctor says, sir? And he said, no, it's ma'am. And he said, ma'am, you have testicular cancer.
Listen, I think it's important. I think it's important for us to say this, right? On behalf of the show, on another note, we really believe that all lives matter. We believe that all decisions matter here on this show. And we really, the comments that you hear are our own personal comments. As a show, we really do love and embrace everyone. So we don't want anyone who may be in this situation to feel that, we are insensitive, because we really aren't. We honestly are raising the awareness because it's so important.
Like what you do in your bedroom is really your business, but then what you do
publicly
that could possibly affect the way that I'm raising my child is my business.
Yeah.
So if I'm raising her up to respect you and your views, I would want the same respect in return.
Yes.
That's agreed. So on that note, we're gonna kick it over to
Yes, so we have local highlights. So today in our local highlights, we're highlighting Drive BVI. I don't know if you guys heard about it.
It's so funny.
Yes, it's actually a book. Yeah, it was written by Darrly Flanders, and it's a satire that features 30 driving tips to survive, and I say survive the BVI roads. I think we all have our own stories driving on the BVI roads, and it's a perfect gift for friends and family. It's even been highlighted in the Virgin Islands Life and Lifestyle magazine and Island Sun newspaper. It was also illustrated by Akia Bruley. She's really talented. I don't know if you know her, but she's really talented when it comes to graphics. And it's actually a humanitarian project because the donations, all of the proceeds, it actually is donated to rebuild the BVI public library.
Buy 5 copies, y'all.
Yep. So Darrly definitely did a great job with this one. Yeah, it's really, really funny. I don't know if you guys read it yet, but you definitely should go out and get it.
I read it as a bedtime story to my kids one night, right? It was so funny.
And it's so
because I don't do
relatable.
bedtime stories for my kids. They're too old for bedtime stories. But I read it as a bedtime story to my kids, and I didn't know it was going to be like this funny.
It's
I
really
thought-
relatable. That's
Exactly.
the
You
thing.
trying to put them to sleep and
It
you
was,
cracking them up.
listen, it was so
I didn't go to sleep right
funny.
after.
It was so funny, and the worst part is they understood it. Like, they were, mommy, daddy, don't do that. Daddy. It was so funny. Shout out to you, and I love that these local highlights. These are our people.
Yeah.
Because if anybody knows Darrly, he's already this charismatic and
He's
his
like this gospel star.
Progressives,
and you would never
producer,
even think it because when you look at him from the back, you're
yeah,
like, who is
yeah,
this big
yeah.
guy here? And he turned around and he's like, hey, look at me. How you doing? I'm like, you're a really happy tall guy.
Yeah.
But I mean, driving in a BVI,
Such an experience.
I have a small little car, and I always, if I hit a pothole, I'm on my way to Guyana. Straight up. All the time. I'd be like, Jesus! I just text for the whole morning. I just have to, the whole like 5 minutes driving after I just talking to my cat, it'll be okay.
I know, right?
Just pack up, baby, and start this afternoon. Mama going to take you to the shop. I never do.
Yeah, it's
But I be
serious.
like, I
It
will
is
take you with
serious.
somebody going to look at your oil because I didn't even know what I hit. Jesus.
Yeah.
But it's not
You know
only
something broken when you fall
It's
in
not even just about
I just keep being like, don't rattle, don't embarrass me. Even when I start the car, don't embarrass me.
But it's not even just
I
about
have
the
conversations
potholes,
like that
but in the book he talks about the right of way that animals have.
Oh, yeah, we
like
know.
only in the BVI.
The chicken.
Oh, yeah, but let's not talk about the cows. They have
Well,
the
the
right
cows,
of way.
you have to respect. That's up to you. You don't want to respect it.
You will definitely
better
wait
understand.
until you pass.
You better
wait.
respect
And you know what
the
I think
move.
is an injustice? Because we have a lot of expatriates who come to our territory. They take these road tests, which, you know, the Department of Transportation, you guys need to update the examination to include
The cows.
the cows and
and
the
the
right of way that
right.
animals are supposed to get. You know, the people who drive on the wrong side of the road in the vehicle, their steering wheel is on the right
side.
the right hand
Yeah.
side.
In the middle
You know,
of
we
the
need to
road.
talk about them. I'm mad at y'all. Y'all always in the middle of the road.
we have to update
I'm
it.
just y'all gonna have to do better. Okay, your line is on the other side. Okay, don't-
Because I always thought like, okay, Adriana, don't be rude. Sir! Oh, you don't say anything, just drive real close. Don't say anything, just sickening.
We gotta fix that. I mean, in terms of when you're going to do a right-hand drive vehicle, they should have a different test.
Yeah.
Cause they
I
just
mean,
be
this-
going for the middle
We
line.
need to pick a side, okay? Pick a side and pick a vehicle because
Y'all
I'm
sounding
pretty
a little
sure.
prejudiced there.
That's true.
Y'all sounding a little prejudiced there.
No, but I mean, if we're driving on the what are we driving on?
Left-hand side.
If we driving on the left, if we driving on the left and the vehicle is right hand side, bear with me. But if we do it, pick a vehicle for
Pick a
which side of the
vehicle.
road.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Okay.
sure other
I think-
Caribbean
I
countries,
think that's
you can't
actually
come
the
with
right-
a right hand.
The right hand drive is actually the
right
right
side for us.
the
too.
right side.
That's why they pick a side.
Supposed to.
Listen.
Because you had the buses and stuff letting off the children in the road. That's why.
Yeah,
If you
so
had
we're
the
on the
other,
wrong
if
side.
it was the other way around,
So,
then when we stopped to let off people, it wouldn't
would be
have
the
that
opposite
issue.
way.
Right, but
but-
the left-hand drivers were actually on the wrong side.
Where
I
we are
know,
driving.
but here's the beauty
You know
about
what?
doing the
Tyler,
left-hand
don't point
drive.
that out. No.
I'm just
Okay.
But
The minority in our territory are you right-hand driving people.
yes, you're in
And
the
you
middle
are a
road.
minority, and you need to know your place.
So what if
Yes.
they're left-handed?
Okay, it's not in the
I
middle.
always wanted to know this.
Know your
Like,
place.
It's on the
people-
And
left.
no, minority lives do not matter when it comes to transportation.
Amen.
Well, Lord, thank you for highlighting Darryl and sparking up our can't drive-ness. Don't judge us. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. But we just highlight our sponsor plugs, Duo Collection,
Nice.
Bertox Closet. Don't play. Because I had Adrian's closet last time we were here. Ain't nothing wrong with it, boo, because styling. Hello? Somebody be like, Photo, I love that skirt, and I'm watching it all the time.
I do think you look really cute today. I actually
And
love that.
Angel's dress hair, if only my one thigh could fit in
Yeah, this is a
Whatever.
glamorous. This is a glamorous fashion dress. I love to shop local, so this is something I bought from Glamorous Fashion maybe some months ago. I really like the flowiness. I like the.
It's colorful.
It's really colorful. It's nice.
And
It's
this
so
will hand her
comfortable.
white pants. I can't find white pants to fit my backside no for like how many years. I just give up on white pants. I'd be like, I want white pants for horse race. It never happened. It'll never happen. But we'll be back with more on another note and our special guest interview. Wait till you see. Mrs. Deidre Wheatley Peters, welcome to the show.
The one-day workshop focuses on beginning that journey of self-exploration and self-discovery.
Today's hot topic is a little more spiritual. The Lord knows I need it. We're going to be speaking about life after death. Do you believe in life after death?
I believe in life after death. I also firmly believe in life.
We're using the word truth. This is our truth, and truth is relative. I want to talk about another topic that also manifests in the skin when you hear you have a diagnosis of diabetes.
Shavander Naturals, handmade natural products made in the British Virgin Islands. Our products are sourced from natural and sometimes organic ingredients. Shavander Naturals is the perfect gift for your loved one this season. Try our hair and body butters, natural handmade bar soaps, lip balms, shampoos, conditioners, oils, pomades, and scrubs. Also available for wholesale to hotels, bed and breakfast, as well as retail markets. Call us at 443-5404 or send us an email at shavanda@gmail.com.
At Blossoms, our floral experts use their creative flair to design beautiful and exotic bouquets. We are the on-island wedding experts, and for boating enthusiasts, we can help you to add a touch of floral elegance, life, and color to your yacht, mega yacht, or super yacht. You can also find a wide variety of silk and dried flower designs, fresh cut flowers, local flowers, tropical blooms, fruit and gourmet baskets, chocolates, balloons, both helium and air-filled, various gift items, and an assortment of plush animals. With a floral experience spanning over 28 years, we have earned a reputation for excellence both locally and internationally. We've even worked with celebrities. At Blossoms, we continue to deliver smiles and watch our customers bloom.
So welcome back. We just came back from this heated conversation about our locals and driving and fashion, and what better way to segue into highlighting another local, I might say coworker. But we won't let them know that. Mrs. Deidre Wheatley Peters, welcome to the show.
Hi. And she's a doc too.
Yes, she
Wait, redo.
right.
Dr. Deidre Wheatley Peters.
Thank you.
How do you feel when people call you doctor? I'd be like, Dr. Shaq, Dr. Peters,
I still ain't used to it.
No?
I don't know how to make it happen in my head. It's so weird.
And sometimes I feel like if I don't call you all doctors, it's like I'm being rude or disrespectful. So I'll be
really
like,
ain't that serious for me. It really ain't that serious for me.
I could call her Shaq. So now you're here. You're telling us all about Tamron Consultants. We're having a leadership.
Leadership, yes.
So tell us what leadership is, and how Tamron is collaborating with that.
Okay, so Leadership is an organization that has been around since I think the early 80s or so, and they have been working on building leadership capacity in people of all ages really. When they started out, they focused on adults, but they realized that there is that gap. You don't want to necessarily wait until someone is adults and they know exactly what they want or think they know what they want.
We just talked about puberty, okay.
So They have targeted, for the most part, most recently, people who are around the college age range. So we've decided to target that set as well. I met up with them in Florida late last year just to learn about their program and what they do. They have different versions of the workshop, but the one-day workshop focuses on beginning that journey of self-exploration and self-discovery. It's not about, as I guess some people do, telling somebody who they need to be, what they need to be, and how they need to be it. It's about devoting the time and the space to actually chart your own journey and be network with other people who might be able to help you to get there, because nobody can get anywhere by themselves, as much as we like to think that we do.
Definitely.
So I thought it would be a great opportunity to partner with them to actually bring something I think the territory could benefit from.
All right. Awesome. And you're doing that too with St. George's.
Yes, I am using their facilities to do that. I figure they will have some students as well who are interested, but everybody, every school, everybody that has people within the age range of 16 to 30 is invited.
Okay.
So I have been inviting the college, who would probably have most of that age range, as well as the other schools
And
as
then
well.
I want to just put right here, you know, those sixth formers, this new, sorry, not sixth form, the 12th graders, this new aspect that has been implemented in our educational system. I feel like, I mean, being a parent myself, my son is 16, but in terms of looking forward to the sixth form, something like this would definitely add value, would add substance to that program, because it definitely needs some infusion right now, some energy in there in terms of preparing the students for even college life, for entrepreneurship. Sometimes they actually say things like, when I ask, what do you want to be? If I have my kid clients, and they would be, I want to be an entrepreneur. In what? Do you even know what that means? They don't know. So, I mean, this is definitely such an awesome idea. It's an awesome event. I'm looking forward to it in terms of, I hope that some of those sixth formers are interested and they sign up, because it's a good time for them.
And I think it's a lot more than, you know, even entrepreneurship per se, but it's about purpose. Finding out why you're here. I know when I was 18, I still didn't know quite what it is I wanted to do.
I was 21.
Me being a bit closer to that age than anybody else here, I can say that.
Shade. Just shady boots. Just shade.
It's no shade. You know, I'm just saying facts.
The people know.
Right? But it's true. Like at this age, still at my age, you're still trying to figure out what is your purpose. And we don't really have those conversations in the classroom, or some people don't even have the parents to have that conversation with. So a program like this will definitely be beneficial.
What I like about what I'm hearing, because I'm not too familiar with the leadership program, but I like that I'm hearing that we're kind of teaching the next generation to figure things out quickly, starting with you. Because the truth is, the best leaders are the ones who know themselves. If you are able to manage yourself, you are great at managing others. But it starts with self-recognition.
Go to church. Listen, I'm jumping off this chair. What you said.
No, seriously. So I like that because, you know, I was afforded those opportunities growing up in the U.S. But there's a lot of people who, and I realize here especially, we don't really pump that energy into that specific age group. And I really think you need to do 16. Did you say from 18?
16.
Oh, it's from 16. Okay, good.
It's pride.
Yeah, I think
They have
that's
pride about other
awesome.
things, but not that specifically. And going to, for me, like going to an HBCU, even transitioning from a PWI, it was a little bit different because going there was predominantly Caucasian, and their education was just like, you know, just go ahead, you're good, woo, woo, rah, rah, we're great, ha ha. And I just like, come on, black people, sorry. So I transferred to a HBCU, and that was like a whole nother world. Shout out CAU Panthers. Oh. But I was like, this is a different element of pride, and the you must matriculate, you must graduate. Those words, I will never forget them. They're engraved in the back of my medulla oblongata. So, and you're next to is like Clark Atlanta University is next to Spelman College, is next to Morehouse College. Down the street is Georgia Tech. Down the street is Georgia State. And then you still have all these other colleges that are around, and it's so saturated with doing the best, being the best, succeeding, career day. What's your, who are you? And I am this. Are you going to this award show? Are you working for P. Diddy? Are you working for Maya Angelou? Are you working for Oprah? I'm going to this. And I'm like, me too. And I'm from the Virgin Islands. So I don't know. You know, fix it, you make it. And then you go in the bathroom and you have a panic attack. You're like, Jesus, I don't belong here. And I call her mommy like, Mommy, you wouldn't believe who I meet. Okay, get it together. It's like, I don't know if they realize that they can have the same opportunities or be the same leaders or be amongst the same type of people. I don't think that they feel that. And only now you're starting to hear people like, I didn't realize just a small town person like me my business could be so successful. Even like Kyra and all those other, like they didn't realize, even just because of social media, how powerful we are now. And leadership can really bring all those qualities out at a younger age instead of waiting until they're college and then they figure it out because they leave home. You know? So I like leadership.
Yeah, so I want to ask a somewhat of a challenging question because suppose there are people who come to the event and we realize that these young people aren't quite ready for the molding and the leader shaping because they still have a bit of maturing to do. They still have a bit of, how do you address that? Because, you know, I really take issue with us prematurely given not so much information but advice instead of meeting people where they are in their current need. Is that something that leadership is also going to be doing?
Well,
assessing and...
I'm there to do that. Tamarind Consultants is there to address if you really are completely not aware of what your interests are, what drives you, what your passions are. But the workshop is really formulated not to tell you you should be leading per se. It's about helping you to identify where you are and to play on your passions, to run with that. So it's not about telling you you should be leading. No, it's not about that. It's not that at all. Self-exploration and networking is the key.
Perfect.
I think even now and even back then, we were so busy. And now even with work, maybe it's school, maybe it is work, maybe it's just Facebooking. Whatever it is we choose to occupy our time with, most times it's not self. It was never been self. We've often been too busy to actually take 8 hours to devote
Listen,
to
doctor, we want a free session. Amen. Do we lay on the chair here? Go ahead, doctor. I'm feeling healed already. You do your thing. It's true. Go ahead.
I mean, there is going to be the odd person, again, who just has absolutely no idea, none at all, and we can have a one-on-one after that if we need to, but really for the most part, we at least have an idea. Like, you would know. For example, you guys had a conversation earlier about sexuality and all of those things. Some people might not have explored that. It might irk somebody at some point and say, oh, it really drives me that these people stand up here and they're talking about this stuff and I'm offended by the way. Maybe that's their calling. Because your passion isn't necessarily always a thing that you're going to enjoy per se, but the thing that moves you. Passion is about drive and motivation and movement. So the thing, that's what we're trying to identify during this workshop. What moves you and who's going to help you to get where you need to be.
That's awesome.
So even after this workshop now, I mean, Tamarind Consultants, tell me what someone can expect from your company then. This is beyond the workshop.
Right. In a nutshell, I think right fitting. In a sense, right fitting people to places to themselves. You can't fit that round peg in that round hole unless you know that you're a round peg. So in the first instance, it's to help you to understand you, and in addition to getting you to where you need to be the most you that you can be.
Gotcha.
That's awesome.
The best version of
yourself.
yourself. That's what you're working on.
I
like
have
that.
some possible clients. I want to hear more about where you're going to be. Can you say that?
Where you
here
now?
You know,
dates and
right
time.
Now, I love
place.
Adriana so much that I can't leave her right now on a basis. But if anybody needs to set up a personal appointment, I mean, I do have a Facebook page. In addition to, my regular contact, 442-5438. Thank you.
give the Facebook page name for our
yes,
viewers.
it's Tamarind Consultants. Just Tamarind Consultants at Facebook.
That's awesome. So let's ask this. When we come to this event, would you guys be given free tamarind balls before we leave? No, I think it's a serious question. Don't laugh, guys, because, I think it's important for your branding that we get tamarind balls. They could be the really mini ones. We'll get 2 or 3.
Or
Or
a
at least
little bit of
stew.
spice in it too.
First of all, it's called tamon. I mean, I was trying to get through the tamarind, but for our local viewers, we're referring to tamon.
I mean,
Second of all,
from a branding perspective, I think it'll be important for the event to shape leaders.
We see that's why networking is important. So we planted that, and you know, I could think about doing that. Yeah.
That would be.
so we're talking about tamon and tamarind. And then have stew in addition to your balls.
I'm done. Please. I'm done.
That's all I wanted to say.
There's one addition. Everything else, the purpose, the self, just a little bit of tamarind.
Just to drive the point home. I
like it.
Leaders,
if you need someone to make it, I can refer you.
Tamarind stew and balls. Yeah, I think that should be your tagline.
I wanna ask one. Well, this is based on just a lot of the questions I get from my seniors, my senior student clients. So a lot of times, they may have a condition, but we might spend a couple minutes after talking about, Doc, can you guide me into what do I do after high school, or what do I do to end high school and get to whatever this goal is? Do you think that Tamarind consultants would be able to maybe even set up a program like this for some parents who cannot counsel their child into their aspiration? You know what I mean? Yes, and so sometimes the shortcoming is that child doesn't reach the potential that they should, or have the opportunity to, because the parents, they're doing their best, but they can't counsel them the way through. So they might ask somebody like me in a consultation. I'll give them an extra 10-15 minutes where we talk about this is what you should do. This is when you're setting a goal, you're going to look at the end point and then walk your way up to that, instead of doing it one step blindly, two step blindly. So I think that that's something that you can just aspire to look into, offer it to some parents. I do feel like a lot of parents would love that opportunity, just because
I could see that being successful.
They're doing the best they can.
And on top of that, I think for the children, one of the things that we're pressuring kids with a lot, and it's happened to us, but I believe that our generation was slightly different, is one of the things I get a lot is people keep asking me what I want to be when I grow up, and my daughter's like, I'm in between 4 different things. I don't know. How are you supposed to know?
I didn't know. I never know. People feel like they feel pressure to say the right thing. There is no right thing. What's right for you, so, and they're not even there yet. Like, you don't know. If you've never had a job, how do you know what it's like,
So we're going to leave that how do you know segment for persons, if they're interested, if they feel the need, we're gonna always send you to the Tamarind lady. Technically, Tamarind consultant. And for anyone who have any other inquiries, like don't be afraid. Just be sure to hit her up, because it's important that we need to know. People need to know where they're headed to. Their kids need to know, and it's good that we have local resources here that can help us find that. So on that note, we're gonna take a little short break, and we'll be back, ladies. Thank you again, Dr. Peters, for being here.
Thank you.
At Horizon Catering, we deliver the highest quality food, innovative presentations, and professional services. We know how important catering is to your event, so we cut no corners to ensure a satisfying and memorable event. We can turn your next event from the ordinary to the extraordinary. For the highest quality food, innovative presentations, and professional services, call Horizon Catering at 284-499-2132 or 499-2142.
Welcome back to On Another Note, and we are going to jump right into the hot topic. Today's hot topic is a little more spiritual. The Lord knows I need it.
That's why my foof wasn't so foof.
I'm telling you,
this
is just...
We're going to be speaking about life after death. Yes, what happens, and if anybody can speak about that experience. We're going to be speaking about the Christian side of things. You know that Christians believe that there is this Bible verse that says to be present, absent with the body is to be present with the Lord. And we want to be speaking about that. Do you believe in life after death? Ladies?
I got a lot to say on
You
it,
know,
so I'm
you
gonna
know
let
we
you.
wait-
Everybody waiting for me
I
to
was
say
waiting
something.
for you to jump in, yes.
I mean, so I think it goes without saying, if you've been following us, you know, that I'm a Christian and I believe in life after death. I also firmly believe in life. Meaning, I believe that we need to live our best lives, that we need to live productive lives. In doing so, it helps to determine what happens to us in our afterlife. So I believe that if you have come to know Christ, and the time will come where before you die, everyone would have had an opportunity to know who Christ is, have heard about him, have had an opportunity to make that decision, because that's what the Bible says. Everyone will be given that opportunity before you die to get to that decision. I believe that you are given the choice for more life. So if you choose Christ, it's a choice for more life. You live eternally with Christ. But if you don't choose Christ, then you know you live, but it's not a happy eternity. So I believe in life after death. Our bodies die, but our souls will continue to live on, and it is what our choices are that determine whether we live in this paradise or whether we live, you know,
In
with
hell,
regret
that's the
and
word.
in hell and in hell.
I was really trying not to say it.
Well, that's what it is.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
Eternal
It's just to-
damnation. Hell. Mhm.
Yeah.
So I firmly believe in that. But you know, if we're fair, there are a lot of versions of life after death.
Yeah, because I was just about to just slip it in. So do you believe in purgatory?
For this segment, we're going to, because it's a lot, it's a very heavy topic, and we want to concentrate on the aspect, the Christian side of things, life after death, heaven or hell.
In purgatory.
Yeah. But we would, it's for it to be a fair discussion.
dismiss it like
we would,
purgatory.
we would
Purgatory
have
is
to
part of
talk
the
about all
category.
of
You know
it.
who I think would definitely have
Purgatory.
something serious to say? April
April would have. Oh, this would have been a good
April,
topic.
because I feel like all of us, in terms of having a Christian background, I do believe in life after death. I believe that you're supposed to work towards heaven, work towards that paradise. So purgatory, I don't. But I mean, there's so many people that believe in other things, and it's great to have a diversity. So if somebody else has another opinion on it, I don't really entertain the others because I don't have time.
One thing I wanted to meditate on
put
is the
it that
word
way.
eternity, that we don't really meditate on, and we can't even explain what eternity is. Just a few weeks ago, I was listening to my favorite pastor, and he was trying to kind of give you an idea what eternity is. And he summed it up this way. Eternity begins when, he said, picture a little bird coming from heaven after every 100 years, picking up a grain of sand. And after he had finished picking up the last grain of sand, you're talking about a beach, then is where eternity begins. So it's like you can't even, so he's coming back after every 100 years, picking up one grain of sand. And after he has removed all the sand, that's where eternity begins. So it's like really frightening to think that, wow, am I going to spend all this time burning in hell if I don't do what I'm supposed to do? Or am I going to spend this time before God if I do what I'm supposed to do? So it's something that we don't really think about. And even when we think about, we don't give it like a fair meaning of what eternity is, and it's something to really think about. I talk about eternity with my children all the time, you know. Well, you know, and make sure that they know exactly where, you know, what happens after we expire. Is a topic to be had. We go to church for a reason, and not just to dress up pretty and congregate.
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit different in that aspect. I believe in, for me, eternity is a consequence, and consequences don't have to be bad. So eternity is your reward for, I'll use that as a better word. Eternity is a reward or consequence for your life. That's why I believe in having a holistic life, because your eternity is determined on how you've lived, what choices you have made. So talking about eternity sometimes give people false hope. And that false hope is, yes, I've been a good person, I've always been kind, I've always been nice, and I will make it into heaven. And they don't know Christ. But it also gives people a daunting reality of, oh my gosh, I have been such a horrible person. There's no hope for me. So you know what? My eternity is going to be terrible. I already know that. So I like to focus on the life version of whether you will have a reward or a consequence at the end of it. And for me, our focus is Christ can be your reward. Your reward can be a heavenly one. But I think it's important for us before we get to eternity to talk about the road that leads you there, which is your life. Your life and your choices.
But whatever choice you make after you expire, you're going to face eternity, whether you go left or right. So you need to tell people the truth. As a Christian person, I'm sorry, I'm not a Christian, but I believe that if you're preach properly. You can't pretty up this thing. Again, I'm borrowing the words from my favorite preacher who says, I prefer to be hurt with the truth than to be killed with a lie. And we want to pretty up this thing. And at the end of the day, after you die, you face eternity, whether you want to accept it or not.
Yeah, no,
you go left or right. So just tell the people the truth. As a Christian, you need to tell people the truth, whether you want to hear it or not. At the end of the day, you're silent, Adriana. In that, Adriana is silent. That doesn't happen a lot. But we won't come back to Adriana. So I believe that you need to tell people the truth.
But I really believe that in order for us to have this question about eternity, and I get you that, you know, from a Christian perspective, this is what we believe, and we believe in an eternity, and that you can only have two choices, because you were saying, tell the truth. We need to tell the people the truth, hell or heaven. But in order for us to tell them the truth, it's the same thing. I look at it like how we deal with our kids. If you touch the fire, you will get burned. We don't just say, you're going to get burned. We say, if you touch the fire, you will get burned. We give instructions.
And we also say, who don't have us feel.
Yeah. So I think we have to look at eternity from that manner. We need to talk about the thing that happens before you getting burned.
And then we have to understand, we're using the word truth. This is our truth, and truth is relative. So the people watching this show may not believe your truth is truth. So in terms of, yes, there is eternity, but that is your truth. And while I also believe in God and believe in heaven and hell, it is my truth too. But in terms of who's watching, right?
They might not understand.
They might not get
not
it,
that
so
they
we
don't
have to
understand,
open.
it's just a different truth. There may not be heaven and hell for them.
Yeah,
You understand what I'm saying?
religions.
So that's
it's-
where it
it's
goes back
not-
to me and
yeah.
my question of purgatory. So I mean,
Yes, please, tell us.
My producers might not like me, but I got my phone
Do it.
here. Because I didn't want to give you Adri's definition of purgatory. I want to give you Google's definition of
Well,
purgatory.
Adriana finds her definition of purgatory. I just want to say that that's why we are, on another note, we bring different topics. And I thought that this topic is a topic that I discuss with my children all the time as a God-fearing person. And it is a very interesting, hot topic as well. So,
It is.
Yeah, because you know,
we agree. Yes,
people
and
always
everybody
say,
has their opinion.
I was in another life. I was probably whatever. I swear, mommy, I was saying this board was somebody. This board looked like this grandparent. Look at the eyes. Look at the eyes. And I'm like, something wrong with you, lady. She's like, the dog loves me too much. This got to be so and so. Get out of here. What are you? All right.
Yeah.
But
Some people believe in
some
reincarnation.
people, right? So we could leave that aspect.
Yeah.
But I kept bringing up purgatory because it's still a part of the Christian creed, but it may not be a part of your denomination per se. But in Catholic and certain
Catholics.
It's biblical,
and
actually.
Episcopalian, Anglican.
So let's hear the definition.
We're on that realm, or at least me, in figuring out, not just reading the Bible per se to say that somebody's going to interpret it and tell me what their interpretation is, and if it sounds real to me, then I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That's common sense. Jesus said that, yes. No, there are the Bible contradicts itself so much. Yes, but
No.
we're going to stick to purgatory today. We're going to stick to purgatory.
Oh,
So purgatory,
no.
it's the
me back.
belief. I move on. So it's the belief that it has two purposes: a temporal punishment for sin and the cleansing from the attachment to sin. And it purifies the soul before the soul's grand entrance into heaven. And some people, it's often misunderstood, just, you know, like for Catholics or whatever. That's why they say, you know, don't be cremated and these types of things, because then you'll end up in purgatory. But from my understanding, another aspect of it too, where some people will just say, well, that's where spirits are unrest spirits. They're in this transition where they can't go into wherever their destiny is. And so they're in this place of gray. And until they figure out, or until something figures out, or until when God comes back or Jesus comes back, that's when they'll find some type of eternity.
Yeah.
Then their judgment will be placed. Because some people die horribly. Some people talk about their houses are haunted or whatever the case is. And sometimes I think, well, you know, those are the people who are in purgatory, or those spirits are the ones that are in purgatory. And until the house may be cleansed or until God comes back, then those spirits will never find rest. That's my interpretation of purgatory. Even though there are some persons that are a little bit more aggressive and say that, well, certain sinners go to purgatory. I don't really believe that aspect.
I can say this. I wish I could remember the scripture, but biblically, it talks about Hades, the fact that spirits lie between Hades.
Oh, the Bible
which
says
is,
that?
Yeah, it
Who's
does.
Hades? Anyway, go ahead.
which is between heaven and hell. Okay. So it's not heaven and it's not hell. And it talks about the fact that some spirits lie between Hades, and there's a point where it talks about, in Revelation, I believe it is, where it talks about the fact that at one point we will all be caught up to meet Christ. So at a certain point we will be caught up. I am not fully versed on this particular, is it true that some spirits are in unrest? You know, I'm now going to go back and seek God about what we should really be believing and teaching. But I firmly do believe that your decisions determine your eternity, but it's not your decisions of good or bad behavior. It's your decision to accept Christ or to deny him. That determines your true eternity. If you have lived a bad life your entire life and you have been a sinner, and on your dying bed you say, Father, forgive me for my sins, you will enter into heaven with the same grace that God would have given someone who has lived a Christian life
There's
their entire
scriptures
life.
to support that.
Your eternity is determined by a decision, one decision. Well, not an entire lifetime of decisions, just one.
Right.
And
I know that note.
Yes.
Once you have breath,
I was like, I'm torn.
That's
I'm like,
intense because we have to talk about it a lot more, but we have to switch it up a little bit, right?
Take it away, Dr. Shaq.
That's a very intense topic, and we're gonna ask our audience, give us some feedback.
Yeah.
Tell us what you feel. What is your truth? Do you believe that there's heaven and hell, and that's where you're going? There's a destiny. Is there a gray in between? Give us your thoughts while on social media. We love to read them, hear about them. But now let's just switch it up to our health note.
yes, Lord, please take us away.
All right.
now they don't want to talk about Jesus.
We love Jesus.
We love Jesus, but it's just an intense topic. All right. So, I mean, every week I try to be a little bit diverse. Yes, I'm a dermatologist, and yes, people think, oh, she's only thinking about beauty. And yes, dermatology is thinking about or treating conditions of hair, skin, and nails. Yes, but I want to talk about another topic that also manifests in the skin, but I want to do it as more like encouraging persons who have this condition to take it seriously. When you hear you have a diagnosis of diabetes, mellitus, right? That's the whole name, diabetes mellitus, right? But people just say sugar, or people just say diabetes. But when you get a diagnosis of diabetes, take it seriously. Why is it important to me and in my field? Because I deal with a lot of chronic wounds. So, I mean, right now diabetes affects like 1 in 10. You must know a family member, a friend, somebody who has had diabetes. And you must know at least one person who have had an amputation, or they've lost their lives because of an amputation being infected, and so on. So at the end of the day, I want to say that with diabetes, we have to know that there are two main types, right? We have the type 1s, and then we have the type 2s. Type 1 is more genetic. You lack insulin. So let me just explain that. When you have diabetes, that means you have a problem with excess sugar or glucose in the bloodstream. However, that glucose is only valuable to you if it gets into the cell. So it needs a key to unlock the cell, to get into the cell and actually perform the functions that you need, all right? That energy that you need. So the problem is the key is missing in type 1. The key is insulin. So with diabetes type 1, the key is missing. So there's no way for the glucose or the sugar to get into the cell to perform its metabolic functions and keep you healthy. With the people who have type 2 now, it is that their key is not working. It probably broken, or it's like shaped differently, so it cannot unlock the cell properly. So some get unlocked and some don't get unlocked, but you don't get the function of your insulin. So the problem with high glucose in the bloodstream, with it not accessing the cells, is that it makes your blood sluggish. You guys can imagine, I mean, if you get cut, your blood just run, right? But what I'm trying to say in terms of the sluggishness, let me just be specific. You have a number of different cells within your body. You got white blood cells, you have red blood cells, all right? And those white blood cells are so important in controlling infections. Okay, that's where your immune system really is at play, through those white blood cells. There are a variety of them. We're not going to go through them. But this is the issue that slows down healing, which is why I would encounter more wounds. So if somebody is diagnosed with diabetes and they're not aware of this diagnosis, but somehow they got a splinter in the foot, and they come in and say, boy, listen, doc, I had this splinter in my foot for a month now, and you know that cut will not heal. It would not heal. You can't just address that wound as, oh, let's just put a Band-Aid on it, treat it with some, like, you know, some antiseptic, put some antibiotic on it and send them home. My first thing is, let's screen for diabetes, because more than likely that is the case. And more than 90% of the times, that is the case. And they show up with like an elderly relative who has had a cracked toe, and then that toe becomes infected, toe is swollen, and then we know, we've heard the term gangrene as well, right? Yeah. So at the end of the day, this infection happens, it's there, it's lurking around, but then the blood circulation to take those anti-inflammatory cells, those white blood cells there to take care of that wound, and also the red blood cells to carry the oxygen to and from that affected area, then that is lacking. So at the end of the day, that area dies. And that's what gangrene is. There are different types of gangrene. But what I want to highlight with me pointing out the fact about the wound is that silent side of diabetes. Yeah. It doesn't mean that once you're diagnosed, you're going to show all of these things. And it doesn't mean that once you're diagnosed with diabetes, you're going to get ill, you're going to die, heart attack. It just means stay woke. You know, I like to say this thing, right? Right? So at the end of the day, what happens in diabetes, you, instead of just having those sluggish blood cells, those sluggish white blood cells, it also increases your chances of producing high cholesterols, right? And so what happens is you produce these little microchips or plaques, and they go into the very small end vessels. And the issue with the silent part of diabetes is those end vessels end in areas that you can't usually see. Yeah. They end in your kidneys, they end in your brain, they end in your heart, they end on your tips. So especially the tips of the toes and so on. And you notice that some of the first things people talk about is and eyes. Yes, please, eyes. And the first thing people talk about at times is, I feel tingling in my toes, I feel tingling in my fingers. It is because the blood flow to that area is now blocked because of that blockage at the end vessels. So my moment here is just to ask the persons who you might have heard, I have pre-diabetes. Pre-diabetes doesn't mean I have diabetes. It means make those lifestyle changes right now, because this is the time. Because once you've gotten to a threshold of having diabetes, reversing those microscopic silent things is impossible.
It really is. Dr. Sharon,
yes,
I want to
please.
interrupt you. Do you want to go ahead? Go ahead.
Sure. Doctor, when I was younger, I heard that diabetes was something hereditary. Now I'm hearing that because of the type of foods that we are consuming, that has changed. Can you speak to that?
It's not all diabetes is hereditary, right? But it does carry a very strong family tie, especially the type 1 forms, which you also will see in the juveniles. You'll see that in early onset. But definitely that sedentary lifestyle, that lifestyle where you have a poor diet, which we call it high glycemic diet, where you have more heavy, simple starches in your diet, and weight gain, all that kind of stuff. So you can definitely get diabetes as you progress in life, not necessarily because it's linked to the genetic type. So it's not always hereditary.
I wanted you to just give for our viewers, you know, and if you know, I've talked about diabetes on this show a million times. Every single chance I get, I talk about it. It's very near and dear to me. But I want you to just list out some pre-diabetes signs,
Okay.
just so that our audience can see what the typical signs are, that whether you're sure or unsure, when you hear these things or you experience them in your bodies, that you do get the test done. And then while I have the audience to do so, I just want to say, if you do need to have a test done, you're not sure, you have questions, you can contact the BVI Diabetes Association. It's located on Main Street next to Lady Sarah's. It's right next to Roger Downing's architect offices, and our telephone number there is 494-4125, and we are happy. We've been giving support and help to the community. This is 40 years that we have been, I think we are the eldest organization that has been supporting in this manner in the territory. Yeah, so it is just, it's awesome. But what we have seen and we've heard over these 40 years is that it's increasing way too much. And a lot of it is the pre-diabetes, so which is why it's so important for us to just give some simple symptoms. Here are some things to look out for.
Right. So let me, of course, I'm skin centric, so I'm going to talk about skin first, okay? So a couple of the signs that you can see in your skin with diabetes is that your skin gets super dry. Okay, your skin gets super dry, you get extremely itchy. Not everybody that has dry skin and itchy skin has diabetes. I'm going along.
Oh no, I got
I'm
diabetes.
moving.
Oh Jesus.
All right. So dry skin, itchy skin. I mean, of course, if you fall in the obese weight of your body mass index, that also puts you at risk. Not saying that everybody who develops prediabetes or diabetes is going to be overweight, right? But that's also something. Then you also know we want to think about the actual symptoms. So if you notice that you're very, very thirsty all the time, you're pretty thirsty, especially having to get up in the night, you have to drink a lot, and then we call that polydipsia, okay? And then if you pass so much urine, you're just passing a lot of urine, that is also, we call that polyuria, right? So you want to pass a lot of urine. Sometimes when you get to the point where you are having those glycemic imbalance in your body, you lose some weight as well during that time. But let's just say prediabetes doesn't necessarily have to have a symptom at all. It could be found out on your annual screen when you're checking up on yourself, and you ask, and your doctor does for you an HbA1c. So there's a little range there. So anywhere between that, about that 6 to 6.2, that tells you that, listen, you're at risk. You're not diabetic, but you're at risk. And this is the time when your doc gets into a conversation with you about lifestyle changes, adjusting your diet, exercise, that kind of stuff. And then once you pass that 6.5 range going up in your HbA1c, it gets risky. And then at that point, your doctor will then do a glucose tolerance test to confirm if you're not one of those symptomatic persons. You understand what I'm saying?
But even knowing your history, because if you come from a family who has diabetes, you are pre-diabetic by nature. From your disposition of genetics.
Yes,
so it's so important, and that's why doctors' offices always ask us one question. What is your family history? They always ask, because it's so important.
Yeah.
It's so important. So it's really important for you to know your family history, because that makes you pre-diabetic. And if it makes you pre-diabetic, then it's so important to have that HbA1c test done
and have it early. Have it early. So I mean,
was like, you know, when you have a cut and then or a headache and you Google it and then it tells you all the symptoms, like, I'm dying. I was listening to Dr. You have dry skin, you lose weight.
No, we're just making sure.
I'm dying.
Don't worry, you're not dying. We're just sensitizing our audience to diabetes, the signs, and stay alert in terms of how to respond with your diagnosis of pre-diabetes, okay? On that note, we're going to kick it straight over to Angel. Yes.
And listen, it's time for the real appeal time. Just take a look at the view behind us.
The yachts.
Oh my goodness, you wouldn't believe where we are. Or maybe you figured it out. Because this is one of the hottest spots in the BVI.
Yes,
Yep, you got it right. We're right in East End at Harbor View Marina. Isn't it lovely, ladies?
Absolutely.
Oh, I have been to a lot of events here. A lot of events. It's a great hosting area for events. It's an awesome place to have dinner. They have a lovely area. And listen, they actually have a brick oven.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Like for real brick oven. It's great. It's really good. But for our tourism and true to who BVI is, this place includes 22 slips. There are 10 moorings. It's equipped with electricity. So if you're into sailing or you know anyone visiting the BVI, they've rented a boat, they have a boat, this is an awesome place to come to. It's equipped with all the facilities needed for your boating needs, for your marine needs. So everything from pool to marina, places to stay, you've got it all located right here at Harbor View in East End. It's tucked away. You almost feel like you're in a secluded area.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for your next party event, you're looking for your next office event, you just want to hang out with friends, you want to have a bridal shower, or you know people who are visiting, they need a place to stay, they need to dock their boats, this is the top spot for you at Harbor View.
Y'all see what I did there?
I like it.
That's
awesome.
If they don't hire you again for all their radio ads, something wrong.
I'm saying, Harbor View, I see you. But really, it's a lovely, lovely, lovely location. So I'm really glad that we came out here today. And like I say, if you're not from BVI, I know you're jealous. So don't feel any way about it. Book that ticket, book that boat ride. Come on over and get a look at this view.
Oh my God, Harbor View, diabetes, purgatory, Darrly Flanders, Dr. Peters. Today was just a lot.
Yes, it was intense.
But I mean, it was good.
Yes.
Really
Good information.
I swear I was dying a minute ago, but
But you're okay.
but thank God Harbor View resurrected me, so I don't have to go into the afterlife. what was that about? It's so strange.
But don't worry, when you leave from here, the driving experience will be something different.
It definitely will. My little Rudy Blue, that's the name of my car. She won't go to Guyana today. But I'm so grateful for all you ladies as being my co-host today. Let's give it up for Kyla.
So glad to have her back on set.
Yeah. Like, where did you go?
Miss you.
And then you
missed
came back, thank God.
Yes.
But then we can't, be remiss to talk about April. Where are you, girl? Like, what happened? Like,
And if you're not on set, what are you doing?
Like, what are you doing?
Like, what are you doing?
Where you at? And we just got to give it up again to our sponsors, Dual Collection, that had me and Shakima looking extremely delicious today.
Thank you.
And also all of our co-hosts for still glamming it up. I will just put in a little plug there for She Likes, because I kept getting all these questions. Where these earrings are from? But I bought them, Danielle. I bought these myself. Yes, I did. So again, thank you all for being here. Thank you for viewing. Until next time, you follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, and now our YouTube page. On another note, on another OANTalk. Till next time, guys. Bye.